Cracker Barrel. A staple of American country breakfast dining, a food establishment made for all the folks who say, I'm in a constant state of America maxing, and I will refuse to eat anywhere that does not have either a gun or a mounted dead animal on the wall, and a collection of old-timey memorabilia that makes you think, whoa, is that a noose? I think that might be a noose. A mix of local history of the area and vintage knickknacks. No matter what's going on in the world, Cracker Barrel will always bring that flavor of nostalgia. Like an old white racist grandma who also runs a rural gas station market. Or at least they used to. Meet the culture war's newest victim, Cracker Barrel guy. And also the Cracker Barrel stock, if we're being honest with each other here. Hey there, I'm Broke Karen, and I'm here to talk about brand redesigns. Cracker Barrel stock took a poop recently. They lost nearly $100 million in value after redesigning their logo, cleaning it up a bit, and trimming the fat. And by fat, I mean the man. You are going to want to sit down for this. Look at this. There used to be a man standing next to this bean that says Cracker Barrel. Now there is no man. Not a man in sight. Sounds pretty woke to me so far. Look at that barrel be filled with. Crackers? Nah, I don't think so. Try tampons and communist DEI initiatives from Biden and gay stuff. This is clearly the biggest deal in the world right now. He's really disappointed. Whoa, 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 whoa. You can really see the pain in his eyes. Ah, yes, the highly respected intellectual think tank powerhouse of American modern politics. End wokeness. The CEO should face charges for crimes against humanity. Woke is when rolling pins on wall. I know that this is hyperbole, but no way people are this upset.
So, with the recent changes that are occurring with Cracker Barrel, we no longer can support the decisions that are being made. So, our pictures, they're across the nation, and all the Cracker Barrels our pictures are. So, our mission moving forward for the next 2-3 months is to go to every Cracker Barrel and take our pictures down off these walls. So, Cracker Barrel, I'm sorry, but you have lost us as
There's no way. Cracker Barrel, you need to come to your senses. These people are taking down the pictures that they got made at the county fair's old-timey photo saloon. You can see the damage that you created. Clear as day. I think that this couple deserves a personal apology from Cracker Barrel. But for real though, this is so funny. You're spending money at Cracker Barrel. You're going to Cracker Barrels across the nation to spend money at them. You cleaned your plate. Look at that. I love these people. They're fucking awesome. Even Donald Trump got in on it. By the way, this all just reminded me, let's never talk about the Epstein files ever again, please. Cracker Barrel is way more important than Epstein. Am I right or am I right?
Because I saw they were rebranding, and Cracker Barrel is like my childhood. Any spring break, we would always go with my grandparents. And I heard today that the peg games, they've changed and they don't have the original rules on them.
Okay, I'm not gonna react to these Cracker Barrel meltdown videos. This woman is crying over $1 billion company changing their logo as if a loved one has passed away. People are acting like this company murdered somebody. It's just for a corporate presentation. Like, calm down. The stores will not be purged of Uncle Herschel. That's supposedly the name of the guy. Look at this guy. He looks like an Uncle Herschel to me. So something very interesting is happening here. Whenever a company changes its logo, the reaction is never this severe. Nobody tries to coordinate a boycott over a simple redesign. I mean, all logos are in a constant state of being tweaked to represent the times and visual standards of their competitors. In the 2000s, everyone was ditching their retro designs for more of a maximalist thing. My take on that is that people wanted their logos to stand out while still being recognizable and memorable, because within this time period's world of competition, you wanted to be flashier than your competitor, or else they might drive right past your store on the freeway. But with the emergence of social media, you kind of want to do what tech companies are doing and go for that minimalist design. The idea here is that the standards of logos have become so visually cluttered that having a smooth and simple design will stand out amongst the rest. Not really the case anymore, but you know, it is what it is. There is also the argument that these designs are good because they're timeless. Look at Burger King, for example. They actually went back to their 90s logos because it was the perfect fit for today's minimalist standards. But if you ask me, I like their 2000s logo a little bit better. And it's not nostalgia, I promise. My dad is from the Denver area and I've been to a few Broncos games. You would think that I'm all about their current logo since it hasn't changed in all of my years of living. And a fool you would be to think that. Look at their previous logo. This shit goes so unbelievably hard. Like seriously, so many vintage sports team logos are insanely good. The Broncos one specifically reminds me of Blucifer, the evil horse statue at the Denver airport with glowing red eyes. Did you know that statue killed somebody? It killed its creator. A piece of it fell on the guy. This shit is cursed. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. This is simply not the time we're living in anymore. And while I just said that I prefer the old BK design, I want to make it clear that I think that pretty much all corporate art is really dumb. It's just soulless and depressing, without any character or charm. I especially hate corporate cartoons. There's something about this shit that just pisses me off. But it doesn't matter what the consumer thinks. These old logos sometimes don't work with digital marketing, especially Cracker Barrel. Imagine trying to put their old logo on a Twitter profile picture. So you got their new logo, and let me tell you, the hogs are riled up. What else is new, am I right? Not because times are simply changing, not because this is a small town America / highway pit stop restaurant chain that is getting the corporate makeover treatment, but because of the usual suspect, DEI. Do I need to even say it at this point? I swear to fucking Christ, if one of these anti-DEI weirdos shit their pants, they would say, point me to the CEO who hired the lesbian that popped this mud frog out of my trousers. She's sneaky. I'll give her that. Gay people exist in areas that surround Cracker Barrels, and Cracker Barrels wants their money. Also, the CEO is a woman. That's DEI. It's the gay burger with woke sauce meme, or I guess in this circumstance, gay breakfast casserole with woke gravy. So because Cracker Barrel participates in capitalism, has an interest in selling things to more than a single demographic, this logo change is a declaration of war. This is definitely not DEI. You want to know what it is? Business, baby. I'd say that about 90% of every culture war issue comes back to conservatives being upset about people freely participating in capitalism. Somebody's got to teach these people about the restaurant real estate industry, land ownership, and getting rent from franchisees. The corporate restaurant industry has been actively making it easier to sell land when they have to. How they do this is by constructing the building on that land in a certain way. Think like a filthy capitalist for a second. You're probably much more interested in buying up land and investing in future locations if you have to do little to no construction or renovation to the building that sits on the land that you want your restaurant to be in. Remember Pizza Huts? Those were pretty nostalgic. Those were reminiscent of the old times, the anti-woke days. They were shaped like a hut, that's for sure. A nice little sit-down situation. They brought out the pan pizza with the pizza lifter, salad bars, plastic pitchers of soda. All my 90s babies, they know the feeling. They know the feeling I'm feeling right now. Those buildings are, for the most part, gone, but not because of woke. It's because if we're talking corporate restaurants, you can only run a Pizza Hut out of that kind of building. Remember old McDonald's locations? They used to have those fun little solariums, like the bended window places. Solarium, I think that's what that's called. Yeah, it's Solarium. Also, play places. Hey, that's pretty nostalgic. Take a look outside. Those buildings are gone too. But again, not because of woke. They have been slowly closing down because no business besides a McDonald's could justify that purchase. Panera Bread isn't really known for having in-store playgrounds. Here's why corporate restaurants now don't have any of the swagger or charm that made them appealing in the first place. Longevity. If a Wendy's that was built in the 90s closes down, you gotta tear down the whole building to build the Starbucks there. But if all corporate food establishments all had the same building layout and standards, you could easily make that switch. Cracker Barrel went in on that. Cracker Barrel says, hey, it would be pretty nice to sell our property a little easier. And also, once that Outback Steakhouse or Five Guys closes down, it'd be pretty cool to just plug in a Cracker Barrel. But it's pretty tough to do all that with the way things are. Let's make some changes, starting with the logo, because we are a company who wants to make money, so they're doing what all other restaurants do. Streamline and simplify. It's a pipeline, and they're being punished by the capitalism fanatics for that. Like for real, Why are you mad at Cracker Barrel? They're trying to efficiently sell things. What are you, a communist? Also, you know, there are better reasons to be upset with capitalism, my friends. Get in the mind of one of these people. This is like breakfast-themed 9/11 for the Gravy Seals. If there's anything I have learned about these people, never put anybody who is queer on a can of Bud Light, like even if you're not planning to sell the can, and you never mess with the feeding trough. It unfortunately makes a lot of sense that there would be this big of a backlash over a logo change, because at this point, right-wing ideology is just airborne schizophrenia. And the most depressing part, all of this boycotting, all of this online freaking out, all of this dumbass bullshit, they got Cracker Barrel to change their logo back, at least on, you know, social media, but still, they did it. These people are so effective at mobilizing boycott participation. I'm in shock. And it's for the dumbest reason that you could possibly imagine. I think that they saw this video and they were trembling in their boots. And as long as we're doing callbacks, I do think that it's funny thinking about this couple going back to every single Cracker Barrel to put their pictures back up. Yeah, this is insane. People are rejoicing. People are dancing in the street. People are saying, this is the greatest day of my life. My brother in Christ, this logo change would not have affected your life in any way, shape, or form. I honestly just think that it's sad that these people don't realize that if they used just a single ounce of this energy to try to get Cracker Barrel to spend more money on paying its employees, you know, raising wages, that would actually benefit them. That would positively change their lives in a quantifiable and material way. I would go so far to say that if these people are so staunch on not changing their opinion on the letting the ruling class treat them like dog shit angle, if they use an ounce of that energy to get this chain restaurant to serve better tasting food, even that would have positive material change in their life. Man, I wish they could share that knowledge, but something tells me that knowledge is the wrong word for that scenario. It's like how you're cursed with madness after reading the Tome of Infinite Knowledge. I think right-wing boycotting is more of a way of life than a strategy. Now let's talk about the interior. The new interior design of Cracker Barrel looks god-awful, and I think that literally everyone can agree. I believe about 40 locations now look like this. And to be clear, it was equally as bad beforehand. As far as I'm concerned, this is just kind of like a vibe switch up. Like it went from Hobby Lobby to Michael's. Old Man Jenkins' Cursed House of Oddities to Millennial Barn Wedding Core. Geriatric TGI Fridays to Taylor Swift Concert After Party. And as much as both of these suck, I have to admit, I slightly prefer the old design. I don't think I've ever been to Cracker Barrel, but it seems pretty funny for me to go there. It's camp, I'm not gonna lie. People unironically enjoy the grandma's gas station house vibe of the place, and I get it as long as there aren't any, like, you know, nooses or any other things that might glorify horrifying aspects of American history. To be completely fair, I'm pretty sure that the noose was like a single incident, for all we know. Ooh, it's so soulless and sterile. Yeah! That's the point. That's literally what all corporate restaurants do. Again, all this comes back to capitalism, real estate, investors, private equity, and standards set by corporate restaurant chains. The current standard, which by the way, Cracker Barrel is really late to catching up to, is to do away with clutter so restaurants can be plugged into blank slate storefronts. Of course they're changing the interior. Clutter is Cracker Barrel's entire aesthetic. Like I said, this is a pipeline. This was always going to eventually happen. You're mad at capitalism. Welcome to my worldview, comrade. But here's a hot take. I kind of agree with the argument that Cracker Barrel shouldn't expand. It makes business sense to do all of the things that they're doing, but they shouldn't have done that. And no, and not just because I hate the plague of corporate expansion. I mean, it's part of that, but you know. This is Cracker Barrel we're talking about. I honestly think that over 600 stores is way too many. Pare that shit down. Don't expand. Don't cater to city slickers. Do not open a Cracker Barrel in New York City. What are you, insane? They should absolutely know their place. How about you just be happy with being a $1 billion company in the first place? I know saying that to a corporate entity is like asking a baby to not shit its diaper, but still. The reason for the redesign on paper is because the CEO says that Cracker Barrel isn't relevant anymore. And good God, I'm not even a Cracker Barrel fan. And I'm pissed off about that. Cracker Barrel? Relevant? It was never meant to be relevant, my poor misguided CEO. It was always supposed to be a dumbass all-day breakfast chain with a dumbass name that you pass on the freeway and say, huh, Cracker Barrel. A place for Mima and Peepaw to cram trans fats down their gullets. What the fuck do you mean you want Cracker Barrel to become relevant again? It has always been relevant to the people it was designed to be relevant to. Look at Applebee's. They know their place. They only serve two clientele: alcoholic suburban parents and people who do not live within convenient driving distance of a Chili's. Be like Applebee's. You don't see the CEO of Piggly Wiggly trying to compete with Safeway, do you? And that's what they're trying to do. They're really saying this like they want to compete with restaurants like Chili's. And if so, that's going to be an uphill battle for them. Maybe being the laughingstock of the internet for a day or two will make them relevant at the end of the day, but I don't think it's going to work long term. But what do I know? I'm broke Karen, not woke Karen. You should never take financial advice from me. I'll make you go bankrupt on purpose, motherfucker. Okay, my friends, I've yapped about corporate restaurants for far longer than I would have liked to. Life is a Patreon plug. I want to ride it all night long. I got exclusive videos on that. I got other goodies on that. I got end of video shout outs for all my special little piggly wigglies on that. Thank you so very much. Show me my patrons. Show them.